The Bible tells us that after Jesus had been resurrected, he appeared to his followers and told them, "Go into all the world and preach the gospel to everyone, everywhere." That word gospel, it simply means good news. And what better news is there than the story about Jesus providing forgiveness and eternal life for all people? And that's why we love Life Church. I mean, that gospel, that good news is shared every week in and week out, and hundreds of lives every week are changed. But that's just what God's doing at Life Church. Have you ever thought, what's God doing globally, all over the world? Did you know that 20,000 people a day are committing their lives to Christ in China? That's over 7 million people a year. And more Muslims have come to know Christ in the last 10 years than in the previous 1,000 years combined. God's really doing some big stuff. He's working big time. And missions is our means to experience what God is doing globally on a big scale. Life groups are about missions, and missions are about compassion. When we think about missions, we picture the sick little sad child in some third world country whose stomach is really distended from hunger, and it makes us feel compassion for them. We want to do something to help them, and that's a significant part of missions. What could be more compassionate than telling those people about the good news, the story about Jesus, allowing them to hear what God has done for them? Did you know that in our world, 950 million people are alive today who have never even heard the name Jesus? And there's another billion people on the planet who have never heard the good news. They've maybe heard the name Jesus, but they've never heard the good news, the gospel, the story of how he came to provide forgiveness and eternal life. Go preach the gospel. Jesus told us to go preach the gospel. But our actions often preach a much greater message than our words. We demonstrate this good news by picking up a spoon and feeding that hungry child. Or we demonstrate it by picking up a shovel or a hammer and going out and building a church building or a home for someone. And those things don't even have to happen just all over the world or in some third world country. You can do those things here. Maybe you can take a small step and go on a local micro mission experience together, or a medium step, go to New York and New Orleans. Or maybe you could sponsor one or two people from your group to go on an international mission experience. You could host a multifamily garage sale to raise money to send them or to sponsor missionaries somewhere. We ought to get up and go. By going and serving and demonstrating compassion, it earns us the right to share the story about Jesus. Will your group be one that gets up out of the chair? Will you embrace compassion?